Polkadot is an oft-overlooked crypto that not too many people know about, but if you've been following my channel for any length of time, you guys know I'm a big fan of it. I like the setups that we're seeing, and it's got one heck of a pattern that I've been emphasizing and harping on over the past several updates. Nested 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, all that stuff. The only problem being that Polkadot is a relatively young crypto, so you can't always have full confidence in it. But if I had to pick a pattern to be confident about, to be excited about, Polkadot has it. This is the 30-minute chart, short-term view. And like the rest of the crypto space, we've finally been recovering. We've been rallying. This is what you want to see once we hit a bottom. We want to see a nice sharp reversal with some impulsive action, some 5-wave moves. And more or less, we've been mirroring the stock market, equities. There's been a big turnaround in sentiment across many asset classes, crypto being no exception. In Polkadot, we did have our initial 5 waves from that bottom that we hit on February 24th. We had a really sharp retrace, and then it looked like we had a nested 1, 2, 1, 2, and that broke, which is not a bad thing. It just means that our actual first wave was here right around 1982, right beginning of March. We had a relatively deep retrace, just a little past the 61.8% retrace, which is standard for a second wave, which is again marked on March 7th. And we've just been gradually grinding up, looks like a diagonal, but then we start breaking up through the top of the trend line in this diagonal. So I'm not sure if this is a triangle. If it's not a diagonal at all, it could be an ascending triangle. It's hard to say exactly what it is. You can actually see how there is some convergence of the lines here. So call it what you want to. We're approaching a region of that's quite the test for Polkadot to prove itself. So again, we have our larger 1, 2, and we've built a Fibonacci extension off of this. And typically, you want your third wave to get to the 1.32 to 1.61 extension. And eventually you want your fifth wave to get to the next fibs overhead. If you don't get past the 1.61 extension cleanly, at least with a pullback and then a subsequent breaking through of support, there's a chance that this could actually just be an A, B, C fake out rally. And the same potential holds in pretty much every crypto. None of them has fully invalidated the potential that we could be having a fake out rally. So again, it would be an A, B, and a C, that we could see a sharp reversal to come down. So we're not out of the woods yet, but there are promising signs that we may be getting close at least. So this is a smaller fib, assuming that we have a 1, 2 setup here, right here. That means that we are already past the 1.61 extension of this. So we are probably past the third wave region for at least this smaller degree. If we take this slightly higher high as our actual first wave top, which may or may not be the case, I'm just kind of fumbling around here, spitballing. We've just about hit the third wave range. So this would be the third of the third. Expect a sideways consolidation. Then we eventually get past $22, $23 right in that region. Another consolidation. Then we would expect to eventually get into the upper $20 range. So that is the short-term picture. Big long-term picture. This is the log chart. This is what we have here. This is available in the link below in the description. So check that out if you would like. We have a classic bottoming sign. This is the same thing we're seeing in pretty much every crypto and equities. You have a divergence in the MACD, the MACD. While we had lower lows, the MACD is diverging. We're not seeing it being a stretch, which is, again, a very good sign that we have bottomed, that we don't have any further to go. We had our peak MACD right here at the bottom of the A wave. So that's what you want to see. You want to see that maximum stretch on the A wave, and then you see a divergence on the C wave. In addition, we have our classic Fibonacci equivalence. This may be one of the few cryptos where we have seen it, in which if this is the A wave and that's the B wave bounce, our C wave actually hit the 1.0 extension. So that is the most common extension equivalence you see in Elliott waves. So again, in a zigzag, A equals C equivalence, we have it in Polkadot. And in addition to that, even cooler is that you can count this as 5 waves down. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending diagonal. So this is exactly what you want to see. This is the best thing you can see in the C wave. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put the nomenclature because I just can't help but admire how textbook perfect this thing looks. It's an A, B, and a C. And again, that C wave has almost a perfect ending diagonal look to it. You got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The fourth wave overlapped the first wave. Perfect. So you got that MACD divergence, the 1-to-1 ratio, and the ending diagonal structure, internal structure for that C wave. So you can, if you can't tell already, I'm pretty dang convinced that we're done with the crash. That said, as a good Elliottian, you must have an alternate pattern here. And I didn't switch this up. Really, the green is our primary now. I'm going to switch this up before I post the link. So our green pattern sees this correction as having been over, or having completed, and we're off to the races. Red pattern, as I mentioned in our short-term view, we're not out of the woods because we only have 3 up so far. So this thing could turn around and give us a lower low. But if we do have a lower low, I don't see us going too much lower than we already have. I really don't think we'd make it down past the $10.36 mark if I had to be honest, just because there's a strong support there from our crash in the middle of 2021. So what are we looking at next? Polkadot, big picture, as I mentioned, doesn't have much history. So we have limited points of confluence. But even despite that, we still have quite a bit of confluence, even for how little history this thing has. Starting in August 2020, that is the lowest point I can find. That would be the reasonable place to start the analysis. And this does look like an impulsive first wave. So assuming that this is our larger degree first wave, we have a wave 2, and now we have a nested 1-2 in place, slightly deeper than ideal retrace. We should be we should be getting ready to get to the third of a third wave. That's up here. If that is the case, we have a lot of room overhead. That I'm just going to say it that way. You would expect our first wave to hit into this purple blue box. So I'm actually going to draw this out to make it a bit more clear what I'm getting at. So first wave should get somewhere in that box. Second wave, your third wave would get somewhere within this range. And eventually, after a slow consolidation, that's about where you'd expect. That's about the structure you'd expect. Everything's looking impulsive so far in Polkadot. Unlike a lot of the other cryptos and altcoins, you see a diagonal format where you have a bunch of 3-wave zigzags up. In this crypto, I fully expect the full textbook Elliott wave impulsive pattern to unfurl and reveal itself. So that said, we are expecting this first wave alone to get to the $26 to $39 mark. That's what this purple, blue, lavender box is all about. We should have a sharp pullback. And judging by the history of Polkadot, it should be a pretty deep retrace. So don't be surprised if you have a really scary pullback here. That's what shakes out all the remaining bullish sentiment, which helps us stretch that rubber band and propel us higher. Once that happens, should be an absolute rocket sled ride up to $142 plus for that third wave. It should be quite spectacular because, again, this is the third wave of a third wave of a third wave, potentially of an even larger third wave. If you assume that this is actually a major first wave, well, as I mentioned, we have more 1-2s than you can shake a stick at. Once we complete the small degree 1-2 here, it's going to be lightning. You might see this thing almost go vertical, almost parabolic. So very exciting. Again, no guarantee. We need to see us pass through some of those resistances overhead before we can even think about this. But once this candle lights up, it's going to be a fun ride up. So very exciting development here in Polkadot. I'm going to have plenty more updates. Don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss them. And if you've enjoyed my video, don't forget to leave me a like. Till next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.